my dad got me into shooting when I was a kid. I was about, I think, 11 years old. Before then, he gave me an air rifle, like a pellet gun or BB gun, when I was 5, and I shot that very often in the backyard. Set up some targets and pop cans, and would bullseyes those. And then when I was 11, my dad took me out shooting for real. And we had shot 22 rifles. We shot shotguns, a couple pistols that either friends of his would have, or so I've been shooting for well over 20 years as a hobby. But like I started, like my skill became to the point where like I need to challenge myself, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and I would take my friends out shooting and stuff, and they would be like, they would get annoyed with me because they would say stuff like, okay, could you stop out shooting us this bad? Because we can't compete. Like, this is like, if we were to bet a lunch, you're going to win every time.
Yeah.
And so, I got to a point in my life where I was like, man, I really don't like being an employee. And so I was wondering, I was like, how do I, like, can I use this skill to make money?
Yeah.
And again, I didn't think of it as a like get rich quick scheme,
Well,
but like,
it's one of those. So my mom, I think it was my mom or my dad or someone in my family always taught me like if you do something for fun, like it's one of those like if you do something for fun,
if you do
might as
something
well
you
make
love,
a.
you'll never work a day in your life.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
the way they told me was like
Oh.
if you do something fun, make it a job or make money out of it, so that way you can like support yourself but also enjoy your thing. If that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So you want in it for the money. You're just one of those. It's like I don't want to work this 9 to 5. I don't want to have a boss. I want to be
Right.
I want to be my own boss. And like I want to make some money, but I want to have some fun doing it. I get you. I know what you
Right.
mean.
Yeah. It's just I was wondering if I could, uh, just if there was if because I love it. I love shooting. I love
Yeah.
teaching. I love everything really about um uh firearms. I really do. Like I love teaching people about freedom. I love teaching about basic civics and helping people uh, practice their civil rights. And one of
Yeah.
those is the Second Amendment and being able to protect yourself. And I'm very passionate about that.
Okay. Alan, you got any questions for him?
Yeah, what made you decide to become a firearm instructor?
Oh, well, that's a great question. It was more so coming to a point in my life where like I had been in several different industries, and again, like I said earlier, I hated being an employee. Like I still deliver pizzas right now because honestly, people aren't paying for training right now. Like
Yeah.
but also I need to build the business. I need to do a better job about getting myself out there. But I was just kind of at a very low point, and I was out the range with a buddy of mine, and he was like, I was like, man, do you think I could teach people like this and they would pay me money to do this? He's like, are you just now having this thought? He was annoyed at me.
He was like, "You've been doing this for how many years?"
He was like, we've been coming to the range together for how long? And you're just now having this idea? And I'm like, but what? I have ADHD. Leave me alone.
Usually the best ideas are like midway through when you should have had it.
Right. And then my wife, she encouraged me, and then like I made the decision to raise some money so I could. There's one event that I really wanted to go to that cemented this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Okay.
It was train and learn from No Other Choice Firearms. The guy who's also a mentor of mine, Kevin Dixie. He's or KD as he's called. He puts on that every year. He now does it in Atlanta, Georgia now because that's where he is and that's where his compound is. He used to do it here in St. Louis. So first 3 years it was here in St. Louis, or first 4 years, sorry, because they did the 2019. They had to skip 2020, so 2000 or 2021, 2022, 2023. So yeah, first No, yeah, 3 years. Yeah, all right, that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, they did it here in St. Louis, and then when he moved eventually to Atlanta and started doing his compound this year, they had it at Atlanta, Georgia, and Train and Learn, where I got to meet titans of the industry. I got to meet some people who I'd only ever seen in YouTube videos. Like I got to meet Rob Pincus, because if you Google him, the guy is an amazing trainer. I got to train with him for a bit. That first year, I got to meet the guys from Tactical Life, who make a crap ton of suppressors. They're the guys who are responsible for the takedown AR that fits into a backpack.
I never heard about. Wait, maybe I have. I think I think I might have heard of them.
But yeah, Tactical Life, they're the guys that pioneered that particular style of AR.
Huh.
So I got to meet them, and I'm still in contact with the guy who's the head of that. I got to meet the marketing director at the time for Brownell, and a company I'm currently in very good talks with right now, and in very good relationship, Mantis. They're a dry fire system, and I got to meet all these amazing people, who I'd only ever seen them in like YouTube videos or like advertisements or even friggin' magazines, and KD and a few others. KD, a gentleman by the name of Chris Lyle, Mike Bauer, like I mentioned before, the owner of Carolina Custom Foam, and then there was one more person who helped like put up money so I could get my USCCA certification. So like I owe my career to these people. I'm trying to make good on their investment. Because like when someone puts money into you and says, "Hey, I'm going to help you build your dream. Here's some money. Go do it." There's a lot of pressure on you to go do it. And those guys are amazing. I think they're amazing people, amazing instructors. They also have their own podcasts and stuff like that. And if you see a USCCA ad, typically it's going to be Mike's bearded, beautiful face. So
that sounds familiar.
So he'll typically be the person that you see.
Yeah.
But I've also got to meet other folks. I got to meet it's a long list, and I really wish that I would have wrote some of these down.
It's basically like going into this like business or into this like hobby. You meet a lot of people that expand your knowledge on the interests that you have and helps you grow. I gotcha.
Yeah.
I was gonna say one of the things I can relate with when you were saying you had you and your buddy, and it was like you're just now having this idea. I had my best friend. He was telling me I should do comedy, because most of the jokes I do around my friends revolves around my trauma. And he's like, dude,
Right.
it's like, you should do the comedy. Like, it's like it's one of those when I try to be funny, nothing happens. But when I have my like just random moments, people start laughing. And just recently I started doing it, and he was like, he was like, why? It's like, oh, why haven't you done? It's like, why haven't you done this sooner? And now he's trying to help me, be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, and that's a very it is a tumultuous task getting into that. It's I have a lot of
I wasn't gonna bite my tongue, because when you were mentioning the who's the people that made the rifle and the backpack.
Oh yeah, the takedown AR.
So the takedown, the takedown AR. There was a school shooter joke there, but I was like, nah, that's too easy.
that's lazy. That's lazy writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is definitely lazy writing. As an instructor, like what would you say your funniest moment? Like, what's the funniest thing as an instructor that you saw?
Oh, I've got so many stories. This is funny. I got two.
Okay.
So, I used to. I was at a range that I don't currently do any business with anymore, because there's a personal thing. I'll keep that personal. But anyway, I was out there just kind of doing my thing. My student, I just got done with my student. My student left, and I decided that I was going to stay and shoot for the day.
Yeah.
And just work on my own skills. And there was a police officer that came in, and I looked over and kind of noticed that he was, he had some issues with his grip.
Yeah.
And I'm looking over, and he's doing something funky with his grip, and I kind of top him on the shoulder. Hey man, I introduce myself to him, like, hey, my name is John David. I'm tell him who I am, and tell him I'm certified USCCA instructor and stuff like that. It's like, do you mind if I help you with your grip? Because like I noticed that you're kind of shanking your shots down and left, and maybe you might want to tighten that up a little bit. Is it okay? And he's like, I know what I'm talking about, and he got in my face. I'm like, all right. Well, what he was doing was, if I could do a proper grip, just with my fists, it's called thumbs forward grip. This is a proper grip with a firearm. All right.
Yeah.
Where you wrap your hand around your offhand around the firearm, take both thumbs and point them towards the target. What he was doing was crossing his thumbs. On a semi-automatic, that's a bad idea because the slide moves back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So,
that's how you could damage your thumb, right?
Yeah. So, like, I noticed he was doing that, and I went up to him. I was like, "Hey," it's like, "All right, you know what, man? Cool. And I'm sorry. I'll just let you go back to shooting. I'll apologize, man. You know what? You're a police officer. I'll let you do your thing, right?
Yeah.
I go back to shooting. I'm just kind of listening. I'm waiting for it. I'm like, bang, get a couple shots off. All of a sudden I hear bang, fuck. And he had cut a big gash into his thumb because he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So he leaves I'm kind of giggling a little bit. He leaves over.
Sometimes the stupidest things are the funniest. I should know. I do the most funny. I do the same thing. I do stupid things and I laugh about it.
Well, so he goes and gets cleaned up, leaves the range, because you don't want to try to do first aid with inside the range. There's lead and gunpowder in the air, and it's pretty gross in there, breathing wise and medical wise. So he goes and gets cleaned up, comes back, and he just got his hand wrapped, and he kind of taps me on the shoulder up in the middle of my set, and I bring my firearm, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, hey, would you mind showing me how to proper grip, please?
He was like a child after you told him to do something. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
And so I was gracious enough to like, all right. I was like, yeah, sure. And also, here's my card. Because I tried to give him free advice, and I was like, no, now you're gonna have to pay me.
So, you didn't listen the first time, so now
he took a couple classes. We had a couple of private lessons. The first one I gave him a discount because I felt bad because he hurt himself, but at the same time, he needed to learn, and there's been a couple of students I've had where I've stopped them mid, because I also do their CCW certifications, which is carry concealed firearm or carry concealed weapon. Some states use a different acronym, but most states CCW. But I've had a couple students where they're in the middle of their certification and they mess their grip up, and I'm like, no, ceasefire, put it down. What? No, ceasefire, put it down. And they're like, what? You cross your thumbs.
Oh
no, I'm sorry. I'm like, that's fine, dude. That's why I'm here, so you don't hurt yourself. Yeah. So then we'll go back to shooting and stuff like that. But another funny thing. This is actually with my wife. So when I became an instructor, I decided that everyone in the house needed to learn. So I took my mother-in-law and took my wife out to a local range, and we shot everything that we had. We shot both my shotguns, my AR, all my pistols, everything. Well, my wife gets my AR. She's never shot rifle before, right? She had the most fun with that. So she's giggling as she's shooting. She's like, she's like a little kid in the candy store and having a good time. So we bring so 2 mags later, we bring the target in, and I'm assessing her, and it's all really good stuff. Most of it's in the cardiovascular triangle, which is lungs, heart, and upper abdomen, with your stomach and intestines and stuff like that. That's typically where you want to aim in self-defense situations. But anyway, And then I noticed there was 2 shots on the head, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, Andy, this grouping is really nice." Sorry about that. I got a text message.
Yeah.
Oh, it's from my wife. Okay, I'll have to answer that in a moment. Anyway, but
It's like she knew.
she knew. But anyway, so we were. So I was like, "Honey, these are really good shots right here." And but it looks like you're shooting a little high. And she's like, "No, I did that on purpose." I'm like, bullshit. So we sit back out. She freaking lethal weapons me and draws a smiley face with my rifle.
Damn.
The AR is the easiest platform to learn, folks. It is simple. It's very easy to shoot. There's little to no recoil. My wife, who had never had any experience, at 15 yards outshot me, which I was a little turned on. I'll be honest. I was like, honey, I don't know if we can stay. I think we need to go to the car.
we need a private place.
But like, she drew a smiley face for it. We took pictures and everything, and I assume they're still on Facebook. But yeah, she learned and had a good time, and she didn't like my pistols though. She didn't like my pistols or my shotgun. Because she said they're a little too big and a little too snappy for her, so she.
As someone who fired, I can't remember what type of shotgun it was, but I used to go shooting with my dad and my uncle, and there was one shotgun he had. I cannot remember the make or the model, but he called it Big Bertha, and for a good reason. But anytime I would shoot it, I shot it twice. Right? It was either twice or 3 times, and when I would shoot it, it would have the meanest kickback. And at the time, I was skinnier than I am now. And that shit hurted.
Oh no, it's shooting shotgun is like, if you don't do it right, it's gonna hurt. Because my favorite things to shoot in the world are pistol and shotgun. I love pistol and shotgun. Like that's the my bread and butter. I love pistol and shotgun, and it's true when I play video games too, because I always have a loadout that's a pistol, like a pistol with a shotgun or a shotgun with a pistol or whatever. There is a method in which will mitigate the recoil, is the push-pull method, which is you pull the stock into your shoulder and then you pull the rest again like you're stretching it. So that will mitigate, especially if it's a manual shotgun, which is be pump or lever action. So it'll mitigate some of that recoil. Now, if it's semi-automatic, it helps a little bit, but the bolt on the shotguns as a semi-auto will absorb some of that recoil, but like it helps tremendously. And anytime I hear a horror story about a shotgun, I'm like, man, the only thing I've been there to help, kind of thing. So
I know. Oh man, if only I had the instruction. Damn it, I just realized that.
So, do you have like any advice for anyone who's starting out with firearms?
Get some training. Get some training. Pay for training. Do dry fire. If you don't know what you're doing, it's better to just admit that and then get a professional to teach you. And then from then on, dry fire every day. Now, I know I say dry fire every day. This is also something I say to myself in the mirror, because I will typically, like, if I'm not on top of it, I'll forget. Like the past 19 days, I haven't dry fired at all because I've felt awful. Like I haven't really, well, especially those first 10 days where I was had 102 temperature. I didn't have the strength to even lift my pistol. So, but dry fire is the practice in which you get your muscle memory and your basics down. And if you do that every day, about 10 to 15 minutes, some people like to do 30 minutes, it'll get those skills hardwired into your muscle memory. So when you go to the range, you'll be able to be more accurate. So get yourself a class and dry fire. Let me also explain what dry fire means, because I forget that.
Yeah, because
it's over some people's heads. But dry fire is the practice of taking a firearm, pointing it at a safe wall in your house, making sure it's unloaded, because we want to be safe. But to practice the 4 rules of firearm safety, which I'll run those down in a moment. You want to point it at a safe wall, and you rack the slide or you rack the bolt. You practice your proper grip. You point it at the wall, click. Rack it again, click. Rack it again, click. You do that until you get all of those things hardwired into your brain. And you typically you can do it with anything. You can do it like a post-it note. You can set up like an action figure, or even if you're like, or doorknob, anything like basically small that you would have to aim at, and then you can self-diagnose. Now, other things like Mantis will help with that, because it'll be a system or an attachment you can put on your firearm that will link to an app that will score your dry fire shots for that day.
Yeah.
So yeah, dry fire and take a class.
Okay.
You said that you deliver pizza through the firearm instruction, and being a father, how do you like
How do I
balance it
balance
all
everything?
out? Yeah.
Very carefully, and lots of therapy.
I was gonna have the joke of that's the thing. That's the secret. He doesn't.
I don't. It's like, no. In all seriousness, yeah, it's content creation, being a firearms instructor, being a father, husband, and doing pizza delivery. Like it is a balancing act, and typically what I do in the when I'm not feeling awful, I'll get up at 5 a.m., help my wife get ready for work, send her on her way, get the kids ready for school. So they're out of the house by 8 o'clock. My mother-in-law takes them to school. And then I'll start my day. I will either get a workout in, do my meditation and readings, and spend some time in the Word of God. And then I will get a if I do that first, I'll do a workout, and then I'll start making phone calls and sending out emails to either promote my business as a firearms instructor, or I will be making phone calls as a Legal Shield representative and seeing if I can get businesses to allow me to come do a presentation. And content creation is whenever I can find time to do it. And right now it's kind of like at the bottom of the list of like the characters I portray, which is how Alan knows me, as he knows me from my content creation of all the characters I get to portray. And that's always fun getting to do that. But it's just being, and this is something I'm learning, it's being disciplined and being intentional about my day. If I'm not, chaos happens. Like there's times where like from say 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., that's family time. Don't call.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer the phone. Like I'm spending time with my wife and my kids. Now we've incorporated doing things with our children. They're now at the age where both of them can like pick up a controller and play video games with us, and we will play like Mario Kart or Mario Party, something on the Switch typically, because that the Switch is the family system. That's the family console, and so we'll do that. And honestly, content creation has been at the low at the low of the totem pole, because there's a project I've been working on for a year and a half now. It's almost 2 years come October since I wrote it and shot it. It's called the Insecurities Project. My buddy Took, I guess, Alan, you know Took, I guess. He is he was actually the DM for a D&D podcast I was a part of for a whole year back in from 2022 to 2023, I think. If I remember correctly. And he's actually editing that right now. Problem is, the Insecurities Project is me using my writing and acting ability to work on the insecurities that I have within myself. Because people who know me on a personal level know I have a lot of insecurities, which is why I go to therapy. So I can work on those. And as you said, like comedians, people who are creative, we typically use our trauma to fuel our art, and that's what it is. And since my buddy Took knows what I was going through when I wrote the Insecurities Project, he's over there editing, crying, just Dave, I can't do it, man. It's so sad. I know what's happening. I'm like, dude, it's okay. I'll be with you when you're editing. So
you're gonna be like one of the companies that helped you. It's okay. I'm here. I'm gonna hold your hand for you.
Right. Like I'm gonna have to be a firearms instructor for him while he's editing the video. So that's why I haven't really done a whole lot of creative content creation and just been doing like daily videos about, hey, what are my goals for the day. I'm starting to get that back up and going again because of being part of the Solutionary Lifestyle, which is spearheaded by Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter. You check him out. He's very intelligent, very amazing instructor. I got to hook up with him recently and some amazing other people through the Solutionary Lifestyle. And the Solutionary Lifestyle is like 9 things you should do every day anyway, but it's a challenge to get all those 9 things done and so that you can have a solution-based lifestyle.
Okay. Oh shoot, I had a question that flipping escaped my mind. Oh no, I should have wrote it down. Oh no, that's the way it was. So because my laptop battery is almost low, and also we're hitting the 30-minute mark. But before we go, I was gonna add a funny story. I can't remember. It was. So I'm telling this story since you're an instructor, and I'm not gonna say names, otherwise. The person I know probably won't like me telling this story out loud, but it's way funny. So the context of it, the incident that happened. Now, mind you, he served in the military, and he's trained professional with guns. Like he knows, like if I was to have him on this podcast, he would tell you like all the type of guns he has, what type they are, how to dismantle it, and whatnot. He's also very good with the shot. My best friend was telling me the story where I think he had to take some kind of medicine, and he took his pills last night. Well, not last night, but he took pills that night, and he must have remembered, oh shoot, I gotta clean my guns. Which, for those of you watching, hey, never clean your guns while under the influence of medicine or alcohol.
Always a bad idea. Always a bad idea.
So while he has the medicine, he's cleaning his gun. And every time I go over at the house and I sit at the table, I see that mark and I just laugh to myself because my buddy told me the story. But he's sitting at the table, and I guess he must have had one in the chamber still.
Oh,
and
no.
something must have happened that triggered that pulled the trigger, and it shot and it hit the table, and it either grazed or it didn't completely take off his finger, but it fucked his finger up.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the thing, is like never mix any kind of drugs or alcohol when you're operating a firearm. That includes herbage. It always, well, and before we leave, I'll go ahead and run down the four basic rules of firearm safety. One, never always treat every firearm as if it's loaded. Number 2, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Number 3, don't point your firearm at anything you're not willing to destroy. And number 4, be aware of your target and what is beyond. If you follow those 4 rules, you'll be gold. But if you don't, you will mess things up.
You might end up like the one friend that I have that almost shot off his finger.
Yeah, so let's not do that.
Yeah.
So,
with that out of the way, again, thank you, John, for
John David, please.
John David, thank you, John David, for coming to the podcast. For those of you guys, as you can see down below, it says follow, subscribe. All you gotta do, type it in Google, and you'll see all his stuff. I did it. I found his Instagram, his TikTok. I found his Linktree. But yeah, John David, thank you again for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure meeting you. And with that out of the way,
that was a pleasure being here.
Yes. Alan, you got anything before we sign off?
Yes, and please follow all our social medias.
Oh yeah. So you can follow me at Way of the Lock or the Yin and Yang Show, which this is being broadcasted on. Alan there we go. As you can see, Alan the Lone Wolf, he always has the same name on every platform.
Right.
And we already talked about John David over there. I had to point this way, not that way.
Yeah, because like camera is backwards. It's like, wait,
that's what I'm like. Oh wait, I gotta go like that.
I know if I point this way because like we're all set up differently anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, guys. Again, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next episode. And we're gonna have the intro sign us off. So y'all have a wonderful night.
Take care.
There we go. Oh shit! There we go.